Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program 2, where we are currently just about ready for our orbital insertion burn. And we've got about 8 seconds here. You can see here we've turned just about onto the marker, so that is absolutely wonderful. The timing was basically perfect. We've got 5 more seconds here. There'll probably be a little bit of gimbaling. I don't think we're exactly where we want to be, but we're very, very close. 3, 2, 1. These are extremely long seconds, and let's go. Wonderful. So it's going to be about a 50-second burn here. We're not going to fully burn out these side tanks, so that is definitely something that is good to know. But we do need to get somewhere around 1100 meters per second, and that is absolutely understood. This is going to change our apoapsis a little bit, but I'm just angling to get us into an orbit. I don't really care which one. And building up our electric charge from the alternator is nice as well. Did we manage to get our solar panels extended? We got some of them extended anyway. Yeah, we got all of them. Okay, that looks good. Fantastic. Can barely see the solar panels, but we are going to be going into the daylight fairly soon, and we'll be able to see things again, which is always nice. Okay, so our experiment just completed here. That's fine. We're going to continue running our radiation experiment in several locations. We do have our fairing here. Actually, we are going to run out. Okay, this was definitely an inaccurate measurement then. We're going to run out of side tanks here, and we're going to need to let this settle. Turning is going to be a problem with just the one engine gimbaling. Okay, I'm going to cut the throttle. I'm going to warp us forward a little bit to freeze the physics. Now I'm going to stage. And we're going to burn out of here a little bit, but I don't want to gimbal out while we're burning. So we're just separating here. And yes, I know that we are throwing this off a little bit. Let's get a little bit more speed. We got to get this cleared. Okay, lighting it up. We should be clear now. Cool. So we're going to have to burn here for a little while. And I'm actually just going to set this over at prograde for the moment. And that'll be fine. I'm going to get rid of this maneuver node. We should not need it. So we're going to be burning here for a little bit. In fact, let's burn more like here. Okay. So we're currently going down at this moment, and I think getting a little bit more in that up direction does make sense. So around where that marker was does actually make sense to me based on where we are in the orbit. So somewhere around here or so. Okay, so let's just push away when we're going to hit that periapsis. As we can see, that time is increasing, so we should be good to burn here. Let's just warp through some of this burn. It's going to be a fairly hefty burn. We need to get a couple hundred meters per second out of it. There we go. We can see this going right on around. Cool. Okay, we are officially orbital as of now, and I'm going to call this good enough for our orbit. It's not a perfect orbit by any means, but it is definitely an orbit. And that is all we need at this point. So we've got 3,419 meters per second left in this tank. Now, I do want to jettison this fairing. Get out of here, fairing. We don't need you anymore. So that is excellent, and I'll be honest, I've forgotten where we're going. Are we going to pull? Let's head back to mission control and double check that. Let's see here. A frosty mug is Elu. Yes, a radiation observation in the lowlands on pull. Okay, so we'll have to guarantee a landing in the lowlands. That should be absolutely fine. Let's hop into the tracking station, and I guess we can clean up some debris as long as we're in here. So we can get rid of... There's a fair amount of debris here right now. A lot of this debris was actually going to crash back into Kerbal eventually, because it's from the launch we literally just did. But let's just get this cleaned up regardless. We don't need this cluttering up our processing. This game is laggy enough as it is. It's poorly optimized already, and we don't need all of this, giving it more things to think about. So that is absolutely fine. We'll get rid of that. Just double checking all of these other locations. There shouldn't be anything in them. Indeed not. Okay, so that looks good. Back we go to Lander 20, now that that's nice and cleaned up. So we're going to want to push away from the sun. So we want to go like here in theory and push prograde. And we're getting out of here, in theory, though. We'll see if this is the correct direction. It depends on our overall orbit, but I'm pretty sure... Okay, that is towards the sun. Right, for some reason why was I thinking we were in a retrograde trajectory? Why would we be in a retrograde trajectory there? That makes no sense. Okay, we want it to be over here because we want to push out away from the sun. Yes, that makes more sense. So let's get our orbit out to, like, dress or so. Here is probably fine. Honestly, a little closer is not a bad thing. So somewhere around here, 1,500 meters per second to put us in a similar orbit to Duna. That seems pretty decent. Now, we're going to have to turn to that. So that will be slow. The good news is we have got 26 minutes to do it in. So we've got plenty of time here. And actually, it's turning at a quasi-reasonable rate here. So this is not too bad. Those reaction wheels doing some absolute work right now. So that looks good. We're going to be departing here shortly. So this is going to burn up 1,500 meters per second. We'll still have a little under 2 kilometers per second to do our inclination change and Hohmann transfer without dipping into our helium fuel, or rather, hydrogen? Hydrogen fuel. Yeah. Why would helium? Okay, never mind. Helium. Okay. Never mind. Ignore helium. Helium has nothing to do with this. These are hydrogen tanks. Wonderful. So over we go. Yeah, this turn rate is not too bad, really. It really, really isn't. I like it. It's certainly been worse in the past. I remember back when it would take like 8 minutes to make that turn. We've come a long ways. Oh, this is a variant that has the lander legs. Okay. Well, we're probably not going to use those. Although I wonder if it's okay on pull. We might make a save and test it. They were buggy on Tylo. But that just might be due to the gravity. We can definitely test it. It'll be an interesting test. This would definitely work in KSP1. We'll see if it does in KSP2. So we're basically in position for this burn. Let's warp on forward. And we are going to be out of here fairly soon. But this is going to be over on the dark side, which is absolutely fine. Excellent. We're not quite in position for this burn, but we're incredibly close. I'm just going to warp us forward here. 40 seconds, 30, 20, 10, and 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. So this is going to be a 4 minute and 35 second burn, according to the maneuver node. Okay, we're certainly going to be warping that. Let's go at like 10x speed. That, of course, indicates that our thrust to weight is pretty low, but that's understood. It's absolutely fine. So we've got about 2 minutes left in this burn now, and we are definitely getting ourselves a good amount of momentum here. Cool. This is really like a Duna transfer burn at this point. Okay, we've got around 15 seconds left in this burn, and as expected, about 2 kilometers per second left in this fuel tank. Excellent. That looks very, very good. I like it when the tools are reliable. When they lie to us, I like it a little bit less. Now, the real question is, by the time we get back, will Jeb have returned? Generally, that's how it works in KSP2. Kerbals don't die, they just go missing for a while, usually. There's a setting for it, though. Hang on, there is a setting for it, isn't there? Let's check here. It's not in here, I don't think. Yeah. There is a setting for it somewhere, but I don't know exactly where it is. So at this point, we just need to warp until we have exited Kerbin. So we want to go to here. We'll time warp to point. And while that's happening, we can head out to Jool here. Set pull as the celestial body. I mean, yeah, but I want it to be Jool. So we're going to head over here. We do want to go to pull, to be clear. We also want to eventually go to lathe, but pull is definitely where we're going. But for now, we just want to get into the sphere of influence of Jool. So we'll set that as our target. Excellent. And what's our ascending descending node? 1.5 degrees? Okay. So we're here right now. We're going to be here in a little over a year. We're going to be here much more recent, or much more soon. Much sooner? That's probably a better way to say that. So we're going to go the other direction. Get that inclination change. That's overshooting by a fair amount. Somewhere around here. So that's not much fuel for the inclination change. 169. Okay, we'll take it. That looks phenomenal. Let's align for that burn. It's going to take us a little bit of time to get that turn completed, of course. And we should run our research experiment. Wonderful. So that'll be fine. Our turn is beginning as of now. And yeah, that looks okay. That's a rate of what? Like 1 degree per second or so? I mean, it's not great. Don't get me wrong. That's not a phenomenal turn rate. But it's better than like 1 degree every minute. It could be worse. It could be worse. So we're going to burn off a little bit more mass in our inclination change burn here. But what we're really looking at doing here is getting rid of this stage. This stage is definitely slowing our turn rate considerably. And we would like to ditch it. There's no doubt about that. We do have 212 days to get this turn completed. At this point in interplanetary space, turn rate does not matter. However, turn rate does matter for landing, so there is that. But we've landed this thing numerous times before. It'll be fine. Excellent. So once we get over to pull, we just need to ensure that we are over the lowlands before we do a landing attempt. Which will be fine. We have so much delta V in this that we could probably land, take off, land again, and then do it 5 more times, and then come home. So that would be wonderful. We did just finish up our experiment, and how much electric charge did that actually use? Presumably some. But it shouldn't really matter all that much. So we're just about in position now for this burn. Looking good on the rotation. And there's Kerbin just kind of quietly looming in the background. Or I guess that's not really looming. Looming implies that it's, like, big. It's more lurking. I would call that lurking. So that's fantastic. We're going to position ourselves a little bit more here, and then we're going to warp. Just a little further. A little further. And warp. Let's go. That's close enough. So off we go. Fantastic. So this is going to be a 23-second burn. We can work forward a little closer than that, though. That was like 3 hours away. This is 3 minutes, and we can definitely warp a little closer than that as well. Okay. So we're currently at about 10 seconds, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Those are getting pretty close to 1 second per second. So that's, nice. And let's get this inclination change finished up. Burning off a little bit more fuel here will, of course, increase our turn rate. And that is absolutely wonderful. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Now the question is, do we go for a direct transfer to Jool? Or do we instead circularize? Well, let's just see what it would look like if at the apoapsis here, we were to just push into a direct Julian transfer. Where is the timing there? That's actually reasonably close. It's not amazing, but I think we can make it happen. That's an encounter. Is that a good encounter? Well, I would like to actually pull this back a little bit. To about here or so. It's going to be a hefty braking burn, but that's going to be very easy to make maneuvers. So this is 2,500 meters per second. That is this entire stage plus a little bit more, but I like it. That is, I think, very, very solid. Let's align to that burn, and that's going to be in like 97 days, so we don't have any problem whatsoever with how long this is going to take to turn. And that'll be absolutely fine. So once we circularize at Jool, which will take a fair amount of DV, judging by the transfer through there, but I don't think it'll be that much. Like, we're out this far, but we're curved by Jool a pretty decent amount. I don't think it'll be that bad. We'll just encapsulate here, match planes with pull, and then do a Hohmann transfer from up here. It looks pretty decent. I don't think there's a problem here. Just a very, very simple transfer through. So that looks good. And then, of course, we just have to look for lowlands would be the only thing. I'll be honest, this is going suspiciously well. We'll see how janky it gets later on. But this is going better than normal. I'm sure it will get janky. Oh, look at this. Hang on. This is kind of janky because this fairing didn't remove itself from the stack here when we manually staged it. That's definitely interesting. Okay, well, sure. I guess that's fine. So we're just about in position as far as this burn goes. This is going to be our Hohmann transfer over to Jool. Then we're going to have to do the braking burn. Then we're going to have to do the inclination change. Then the Hohmann transfer to pull. Then the braking burn at pull. Then we're going to have to probably dial our orbit down. So we're going to have to do a lowering apoapsis at pull, most likely. And then after that, we just angle for lowlands and we kill our horizontal speed and just go straight down into lowlands would be the overall idea. So this seems relatively fine. Like, this is a very straightforward flight plan here. I like it. I mean, there's a number of burns, no doubt about it, and we're going to get the majority of this burn done with this tech. That's great. That's really, really good. So we're pretty much in position now for that Hohmann transfer, but let's let it go a little further here. Okay, this is looking good. So we'll warp forward. And a little further than this, we're 4 hours out. You can definitely take us closer. Fantastic. Now we'll warp in 2 minutes, 1 minute, 10 seconds, and 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. And so begins our Hohmann transfer. Wonderful. So we're going to remove the remainder of this fuel, and in fact, we can just warp through at like 50x. Hang on, stop. I just noticed. We just threw away a bunch of fuel due to this bug. Didn't we? No, I don't think we did. I think this is bugged. I don't think that our ship is actually bugged. Okay. Yes. I think that's accurate. This readout is bugged, but our ship's DV was not. So we did not throw away a bunch of DV. Cool. Okay, so that's fine. We've got about 37 seconds left here. I'm always struck by the amount of light that is produced by these nuclear engines. It's a lot. No doubt about that. A whole lot. So this is about 5 kilometers per second that we've got here, in theory. And that's absolutely fine. So we've got about 20 more seconds left in this burn, and I want to hop over to Jool at this point and keep an eye on our actual orbital position here, right? Now, this is out over here. Pull is going this direction. We're coming in here and going out here. Okay, so with pull going this direction, that should be prograde. Looks good. We don't have to be too concerned about that. Looks like we're not going to be quite right on this timing because I shut down our engines briefly when I was concerned. Okay, this'll do. That's close enough. So once we arrive at this periapsis, that's when we're going to have to make a few additional changes, of course. So it looks like we're going to have a fair amount of speed buildup when we get there. So yeah, that encounter will be right up over here. I want to warp up to that. We'll be past our apoapsis, so we're going to be building up speed that we're going to have to shave off. It's not ideal in that scenario. I was hoping to have the apoapsis be the encounter point. That is the best way to go, but the timing wasn't quite there for that, so we're going to have to throw a little bit of extra delta V at it. That is not really a problem. So in we come here. Excellent. We should be automatically pulled out of warp fairly soon here. In theory. But now what we want to do is warp to here. 7 days in the future. Okay, so we're now within the Julian sphere of influence, and at this periapsis, I want to create a maneuver plan, and we're just going to do a retrograde burn here. Oh, that is 3,500. Okay, hang on, let's bring that back. There we go, that's more like it. Yeah, this isn't so bad as far as a braking burn goes. So that's the apoapsis up there. We're going to need to bring this down, and just looking to circularize it for now. So something along the lines of this or so. 952 meters per second. I like it. Let's orient for that. This is really not so bad as far as DV goes. I was expecting this to be closer to 1500, so that's pretty solid. And then, of course, we're going to be targeting pole here. I think, if I recall correctly. I may have to double check that again. I'm 99% sure we're targeting pole. Also, there's this dotted line here that's kind of annoying me, but, you know, I know what it's there for. It's fine. Cool. So let's just get into position for this burn. This will be a 49-second burn. And we are going to need some form of inclination change, I think, but it's going to be a very minor one. We're actually pretty close to in plane with pole. We're pretty close to it. So let's set pole as our target here. Oh, we are retrograde. I read this wrong then. That's not actually a problem, I don't think. Well, it's kind of a problem, but it's not actually a big problem. Let's just move this in. We'll continue with our plan. It's okay. We're retrograde. That's fine. We can correct that. Ish. We can correct that-ish. Our relative velocity is going to be a thing, but Pull's orbital velocity is not high. It's not a huge problem. Let's continue to warp forward. We're still like 3 hours away from this warp point. Cool. And 1 minute away. 30 seconds. 20, 10, and 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark. Okay. So we are slowing this down, and we're just going to get ourselves into orbit of Jool here. And then we'll get our inclination change. I'm not going to swap our directionality. I think we're not going to need to do that. So downward we come here. We've got about 4 seconds left in this burn. That'll do. Okay. So next up would be this ascending node, and we'll be there in 30 days. Yeah, that's fine. It is currently time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we're going to head into Pull, and it'll be fine that we're going retrograde. I'm not too concerned about that. Have you seen the amount of Delta V we have? It's insane. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Atala, Andy McGar, Ali Lee, Dark Horse, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Tommy, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.